Hi, welcome to my channel. So if you're new, hi, I welcome you. This channel really it is about self-love. It's about self-growth and expansion. And yes, I do talk about topics of interest as well, but really it's a channel of growth. And like I do dabble also on spiritual topics and just connecting with yourself and God and just knowing who you are and following your dreams. And I'm all about just self-growth, self-love, self-expansion. So if this is something that you a journey that you're on or something that you're interested in, please feel free to just subscribe and just join in and just learn more about yourself and just how you can grow and become the best you. Okay. And if you're not new, welcome back to the channel. So guys, this is a topic of interest. I'm actually kind of shocked that I've never spoken about this. Okay, I want to talk about the ego. I wonder why I haven't spoken about this. It's the ego that has stopped me from speaking about this. So I don't know if you've heard about what the ego is, but if you're on this channel, if you're on this video, then maybe it is something that you're interested in or some research that you've been doing about it. So I'm just going to give you a brief explanation from my own understanding and my own experience with my ego to tell you what the ego is. And yeah, I just want to really explain to you what the ego is and how to master it and how to work with it. Okay, so guys, upon my spiritual journey and my awakening, I have found many teachers that were teaching me about the ego, and they would explain to me in different ways and in different terms. From my understanding, guys, the ego is a part of your spiritual self. It's a part of you. It's a part of your spiritual senses. Okay, so the ego is like that inner voice inside of you. Okay, it's that inner voice inside of you that encourages you to do something or discourages you to do something. Okay, it operates in fear. Okay, so it really is operates in fear, and it's built in your childhood. It is fully developed in about in your 7th year of life. It's when it's fully developed. It is that sense of your character persona. It kind of gives you that identity. Okay, it is that part of you that gives you your identity. And as I said, it's built on fear and trauma. So whatever you experience in the first 7 years of your life, so if you had a great childhood, you might have don't say a great ego, but your ego might be more like on the confident side and more kind of like outgoing and pushes you to do things and be more. But if you had a lot of traumatic experiences, then it might teach you to be more fearful in life and to not really go for a lot of things that you really should. So the ego, some say its definition is edging goodness out. So it opposes God's voice, basically. So there is the voice of the ego inside of you, and then there's the voice of God, or as others say, the voice of intuition. And they operate at that same level in the energy system of your body. So I'm just gonna get a little bit more esoteric on you. So it's in the solar plexus. That's one of the chakra points in the stomach. Okay, so it rules and governs that area along with your voice of intuition. So the voice of the ego usually likes to be louder than your voice of intuition, because your intuition is usually subtle. It's subtle. I will explain in the next video about what intuition is and how to tap into intuition and how to hear the voice of your intuition and to distinguish it between the ego. But before we even get to the voice of intuition, we need to know what the ego is, because that is really the main voice that has taken over, and it is in control of this world and how we operate, because it is physically fully invested in the flesh. It only focuses on what it sees. It's flight or flight mode energy. It's that survival mode energy. It's purpose. The purpose of the ego. Its purpose is to keep you safe, to be honest. If we didn't have the ego, we would probably die very young, because we would be doing whatever and not have like anything that's going to hinder us or protect us. So like, let's say you get burnt, okay, or maybe like you do something, like you touch a hot plate. The ego is going to store that memory in you, so that the next time maybe you see a flame or whatever, or you see something hot, it's going to warn you to not go there, or it's going to give you a reminder of that experience that you had. Okay, so its purpose is to protect you. So a lot of people, they make it seem like it's your enemy, because they say that it blocks the voice of God, because it speaks over it. So sometimes when God is connecting to you, because when you're tapping into the unknown, or tapping into that higher level, or that those experiences that are out of the flesh, it takes the wheel, because now it's kind of like scared. It will tell you, like, for me, my ego, to be honest, like, upon my journey, like, when I first started awakening, like, it just kept telling me that I'm dying. Like, when I started, like, stepping into my spiritual gifts, and when God would, like, tap into me and I would start having spiritual experiences, it would just tell me, girl, you're dying, stop. Like, it would do things to try and hinder the voice of God to really speak to me. So I had to kind of learn ways to kind of get it in check. So people always say that you have to kill and destroy the ego. I am not really advocating that, because I was also on that journey of, like, saying, I kill the ego, ego die. Like, yes, you do need to have a certain ego death to get to a new spiritual level and spiritual enlightenment, but the ego really will never die. Like, it doesn't die. It will just kind of expand, and it will kind of really know the true authority, which is God, and it will kind of submit and surrender to that. But you have to kind of work your way with it, okay? But it starts with, number one, as I say, understanding what it is. So, like, for me, I never really understood what it was. I was just kind of told that it is that voice, and I could hear it inside of me, and I had ended up having animosity for it in a way, because I felt like, oh my gosh, like, you're stopping me from really connecting with God. Because even when I was meditating, I used to feel like you used to hinder me so much from meditating, and like, I just felt like I would have this desire. And when you're on a spiritual journey, you do have this desire to really connect deeper with God, and you hear the voice of God, and God is calling you, and you're meant to be, stepping in. But the ego kind of steps in there, and it's kind of like trying to stop you. And I used to, like, even have animosity and hate for it, and I realized I was going the wrong way, and I was taking people's teachings that I feel like they weren't necessarily for me, and they weren't really helping me make sense of it. Because one, the ego, also spiritual intelligence. It's a part of God. It's another version of God. So it you can't just say you're taking it out. It has its purpose. It is here to protect you. Okay, so the truth is that you need to kind of remind it that it's not first. Okay, the ego is a great servant. Once you really align to your God nature, and you let God take the wheel, and God speak first, and the ego to follow, it does major things, because it's going to give you the confidence to go after your dreams. It's going to push you to do things that you love. It's going to give you the strength to really take those bold risks when it comes to whatever it is that you're desiring to do in your life. It's going to help you have that self-confidence, and really, like, change things in the physical world for you, and also allow the spirit to really lead. Okay, and kind of, yeah, really, like, instead of really scaring you and operating in fear, it will be more at a higher state. But that really depends on the work that you're willing to do, and the healing that you're willing to face, and the way that you're willing to work with it. Okay, so I really don't advocate that it needs to be killed. It is your friend. You just need to remind it that it doesn't come first. It is a great servant, but a horrible, terrible master. Okay, it will destroy you, because it lives and operates in fear. So it's going to keep you in a box, trying to keep you safe, but in doing that, you really are stuck and restricted, and it stops you from going after your dreams. Like, I found that my ego, because, and I don't want to blame it, it's because I've experiences things, okay, and then it just takes all those experiences and traps them, and now you operate from fear, you operate from those experiences. So it doesn't want you to feel pain, it doesn't want you to remember pain. Okay, so it takes away the pain and the experiences that you go through to protect you, to keep you safe. Okay, so that you don't really go through those things anymore. But sometimes when you need to step out of the box, when you need to do other things in your life to take you to another level, you have to get out of that box. You have to get out of the comfort zone, and sometimes it keeps you trapped. It's like, girl, no, you're gonna die, we're gonna die, we don't want to die. Like, it really just kind of traps you. But it's not really how you're meant to be living. Okay, we're not meant to be living in fear. Fear is an illusion, and it was created in this matrix system, in this Babylon system. God made us brave and confident, and the only person we fear is him. Okay, so we shouldn't be fearing anything else. And when he is speaking to you, when he's taking a affirmative direction in your life, you need that ego to really shut it down so you can hear his voice, so you can hear the voice of God or the voice of Goddess, of the voice of your divine self, to really manifest and to allow you to step into your truth and to allow you to do the big things, like maybe if you've always wanted to, I don't know, like for me, I just know, let me just make an example for myself. Like, I'm someone who has always loved, like, doing more things of, like, the entertainment industry type of, like, I love acting, I love singing, I've loved music, and it's been something I've always been passionate about. It's the only thing that that's ever just really been in my heart, to be honest, as a child. And I never really allowed myself to tap into that. I never really allowed myself to tap into my creativity, and I was born immensely creative, with so much creativity oozing in me, and I allowed myself to just listen to the voice of the ego because I was scared of being judged, because I was kind of judged as and bullied when I was younger for being outspoken and just being that girl, which is who I am. And then I eventually adopted the ego, brought all that trauma and made me adopt a behavior that would be safe, so I wouldn't ever feel scared of being judged, and just put me in a box so that I don't really step into my true authentic state, and because of the fear of judgment and rejection and everything that I felt as a child, so like upon my journey, I had to really heal that. I had to heal that and tell the ego that it's safe, because the ego actually is linked to your inner child. So I am going to do another video on inner child healing, on what the inner child is, but this is just a video on the ego. So I had to actually start doing some inner child healing and do some ego work in order to actually face those traumas, so that now God can take me further, because it's really God who takes the lead. He calls the shots in the hierarchy. He's up there. The ego is more lower. It's your lowered state. It's the devil state. It's that lowered state. It's your lowered state of thinking and acting and believing. So when you want to get your God nature, not even want to, you are God. Okay, God lives inside of you. In order to tap into your truth, in order to let God speak to you and through you, and for you to tap back to your divinity, you have to let the ego surrender. That's what I would say. I wouldn't really say kill it. It needs to surrender. You need to teach it how to surrender, to actually surrender to a higher power, to higher knowledge, okay? And I'm gonna teach you guys like ways to do it without like really when God intervenes, and when your higher self or whatever you believe in, when they intervene, when you're like forced to really tap in through distraction, because that's sometimes what the ego is feeding off of, because that's what it's just so used to, okay? And God is of a different level. He is of a level of love, and love is always higher than fear, okay? So the first thing that I would advise anyone who is on a journey of self-evolution to kind of work with the ego, now that you kind of have an understanding of what it is, and that it's kind of you but your lower self, and that operates on fear. Number one thing I would do, and what I would advise anyone to do, is to write a letter to your ego. So write a letter as if it's a person. Write a letter as if it's someone, like a childhood friend, and just write about everything that you've ever felt, all your dreams, all your passions, all your heartbreaks, your sadness, everything. Just write a letter to like your childhood friend, kind of telling your childhood friend about your life, like as if maybe they haven't seen you in the past 10 years, and just write a letter to it, just saying and expressing everything, okay? And I want you to keep this letter, and I want you to read it. I want you to read it daily, okay? I want you to read it daily to kind of allow your ego to tap into a higher level, to realize that it's not in control, okay? Because this kind of now brings your awareness to this presence, okay? Brings your awareness to this presence, makes it acknowledge, okay, acknowledge and hear that child in you, hear the grievances, hear that child in you, so that it can kind of let go of the grip that it really has over your life, by actually making it acknowledge you, and you acknowledge it, and acknowledge everything that you've been through, so that it's not hiding it, trying to disclose it to keep you safe, but now it's just out there. I'm not gonna lie to you, this exercise is gonna be a bit painful, because you're obviously gonna open, the more you start writing, okay, the more you start expressing and opening up to yourself, you're gonna start being aware of certain wounds and things that are inside of you, okay? Don't run from the pain. face it, in order to take it to a higher level, in order to take yourself to the next level. Okay. And then as well, number two, the thing you can do is to meditate. Okay, meditation quietens the ego. Okay, I'm not going to really speak about meditation. I have so many videos on meditations and the type of meditations that I do. So if you want to know more about what meditation is, I will link the videos down in the description box, the videos that I have shared about meditation. Okay, but I just want to talk about how meditation will help quieten your ego. So meditation kills the ego's voice in a way, so that you hear the voice of your divine self, so that you're able to now distinguish between the voice of the divine, the voice of God, the voice of the goddess, the voice of your truth, and the voice of the ego. Okay, so you're able to distinguish these voices, so now that you know which voice that you need to listen to. Okay, and really I would advise that you listen to the voice of God, the voice of goddess. Thing is, it's not going to be as loud. Okay, it's not going to be as loud. The ego speaks loudly. The ego, when it speaks to you, it's loud. It is so loud. It's just telling you about the present. It's telling you what you need to do. It's just getting you distracted, getting you out of ever feeling any pain or facing yourself or just tapping into your divine nature. Okay, because in its mind it's going to be telling you, oh, you're connecting to God, are we dying, that's what it's going to be pushing. Okay, and it's not always the case. Okay, God is trying to bring life into you. God is trying to remind you who you are. God is trying to bring your truth to you. God is trying to awaken you to the divinity that you are, to get out of this matrix system, to get out of the stories and the programs, and to tap into your truth, and to tap into the divine essence of who you are, so that all your dreams and everything that you've ever wanted and everything that you've ever asked for will manifest. Okay, but it doesn't, like, I'm not really teaching the law of attraction, because I know that it's a bit like I was also all about the law of attraction, but I don't want to lie to you guys. The law of attraction, it works and stuff, and the universe and everything, but it doesn't, you're not doing this on your own, like they tell you that you are the creator. No, you are not the creator. Okay, you are controlled. You have a head body, you have God, you have someone supervising you. Okay, the only way to actually get to that next level is to acknowledge that and to hear that voice. Okay, because you have created the life that you've created for a reason. Okay, so you're never just gonna one day wake up and then just manifest your dream life in a blink of an instant, without actually facing how you actually got into this life that you went through. Okay, there was trauma, there was pain, there's experiences that has occurred into you being like this and being in this life. Okay, and the only way to take it to the next level is to acknowledge that there is someone higher up there, to acknowledge that there are presences that are higher up there. Okay, so it's important to tap into them and to hear their voice and to speak to them. Okay, so like my channel, it is about self-growth and self-expansion, but I don't want to lie to you guys, I was deceived by the new age, making me believe that I was you do manifest. Okay, you're a co-creator, but God lives, God is real. Okay, and we can never ever go against him, and if we are feeding other energies that will give us things that, and those things won't last. Okay, God's promises are eternal. Okay, so it's important to tap in, it's important to tap into that truth. Okay, so I don't want to say like completely, because I'm like kind of like 50-50, because like I don't want to say that the new age system is false. It isn't. That's how people have been living before. That is how the spirit is. Okay, but it's just about who they've been tapping into, and this deception of just that you just control everything. You absolutely don't. There is someone in charge. You need to tap into them. Okay, because it's also you, it's an extension of you. So even just the persona of what religion has made God to be like, okay, is also false. Like, God is your best friend if you really allow him to be, and like if you really allow yourself to tap into that truth, you will feel it. God is your best friend, and they do not want you to suffer. Okay, we have made ourselves suffer so much through our own experiences and just adapting it and letting the ego take the lead. Okay, the ego is low, the God is up there, and it's about really rising to that truth and tapping into your higher nature. Okay, God loves us, and he never forsakes us, and he really just wants us to tap into him, but we have forgotten. Okay, so now we need to adapt these tools and adapt these ways of thinking in order to tap back to that true essence. So I hope I actually like shared everything that I wanted to say, but I feel like there's so much that we need to know about the ego. So I will probably be doing a part 2 of this video, because I feel like there's so many other things that I want to share about the ego, because it's so complex, and it really is the blockage to your growth, okay? But it's also not your enemy. We don't need to hate it. We don't need to kill it. We need to remind it that it's not in charge. So, yes, guys, I will be coming with a part 2, but I hope you can take the advice that I gave you now on just starting to build that relationship. Start with the meditation. Watch my videos. I will send the link down below. Meditation is the first step, actually, when you want to really quieten your ego so you can hear the voice of God and really have that transformation, okay? But I will be coming with a part 2 on other exercises that we can do, and the more we can learn about it and how it operates. Peace and love.